Glamorous and exciting though it often is, acting is ultimately still a job at the end of the day, and like any job, there's the possibility that you don't become fast friends with your co-workers. Quite the opposite, in fact. Sometimes actors have different ideas about how to approach a scene and clash creatively, and sometimes there's enough on-set friction that the performers develop a genuine hateful distaste for one another. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with Whatculture here with 10 actors you didn't realise hated each other. Number 10. Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp. One of the most common complaints about 2010's romantic thriller The Tourist was the shocking lack of chemistry between stars Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp, a fact that's likely stemmed from their apparent distaste for one another during shooting. Various tabloid reports at the time suggested that Jolie was frustrated at Depp for not getting into better shape for the part, partying into the night and turning up late to set, while Depp allegedly saw Jolie as a prima donna who took herself far too seriously. As a result, the pair spent little time together on set when they weren't filming, and though they were subsequently jovial enough during the movie's press tour, they've largely given each other a wide berth in public ever since. Even with the film's critical panning, though, it was a solid success at the box office and earned both Jolie and Depp inexplicable Golden Globe nominations for their performances. Number 9. Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker. Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker spent literally decades working together as C-3PO and R2-D2 in the Star Wars franchise. And yet, despite the iconic friendship of their characters, Daniels and Baker's personal relationship was considerably frostier. In 2005, Baker stated that he found Daniels' asocial attitude frustrating and rude, stating, "Anthony doesn't mix at all, he keeps himself to himself. He never wants to have a drink with any of us. Once, when I said hello to him, he just turned his back on me and said, 'Can't you see I'm having a conversation?' I was blazing with rage. It was the rudest thing anyone had ever done to me. I was furious, it was unbelievable." And in 2009, he recounted another instance where Daniels allegedly slighted him, saying, "If Daniels just calmed down and socialized with everyone, we could make a fortune touring around making personal appearances. I've asked him 4 times now, and the last time he looked down his nose at me like I was a piece of shit. He said, 'I don't do many of these conventions. Go away, little man.' He really degraded me and made me feel small, for want of a better expression." While Baker later downplayed the feud, he added that Daniels has no time for any of the other actors, not just me, and none of them have a good word to say about him. Number 8. Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. Twister stars Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt as a pair of on-the-brink-of-divorce storm chasers whose romance is rekindled by the arrival of an F5 tornado. Despite Paxton and Hunt's strong on-screen chemistry, numerous reports since the film's 1996 release have suggested that they didn't get along at all during shooting. Things apparently got bad enough that when Universal was putting together a Twister-themed Universal Studios ride, Twister Ride It Out, the duo only agreed to participate if their parts could be shot separately and stitched together through editing. Granted, Twister was by most accounts a tricky shoot for all involved, and considering that both Paxton and Hunt reportedly received burnt retinas from the powerful artificial lights used on set, it probably wasn't the most organic environment to foster a sound working relationship. Time did seem to mend things though, as shortly before his death, Paxton expressed enthusiasm to reunite with Hunt for a Twister sequel, which of course sadly never came to pass. Number 7. Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. The Wayne's World movies are so damn hilarious in large part due to the superb comedic chemistry between stars Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. Yet the duo ended up falling out following the release of Myers' hit 1997 comedy Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery. The crux of the fractured friendship was that Carvey, in fact, came up with the voice and physical mannerisms for Austin Powers' villain Dr. Evil, which Carvey styled as an impression of Saturday Night Live boss Lorne Michaels. Carvey regularly performed his caricature of Michaels backstage at SNL, and when Myers used the impression without permission in Austin Powers, it drove a wedge between them. The pair were then estranged for the better part of 2 decades, despite very occasionally appearing together in character as Wayne and Garth. By 2019, though, Carvey confirmed in an interview with Howard Stern that he'd basically let it go. Number 6. Lara Flynn Boyle and Sherilyn Fenn. In the case of Twin Peaks stars Lara Flynn Boyle and Sherilyn Fenn, matters of the heart ended up invading their time on the show, with Boyle reportedly becoming jealous that her real-life partner, the show's star Kyle MacLachlan, was being romantically paired with Sherilyn Fenn on screen. In a more recent interview, Fenn said, "People got mad and jealous and it was just stupid. What happened was that Lara was dating Kyle and she was mad that my character was getting more attention. So then Kyle started saying that his character shouldn't be with my character because it doesn't look good because I'm too young. Literally because of that, they brought in Heather Graham, who's younger than I am, for him, and Billy Zane for me. I was not happy about it. It was stupid." Boyle, who largely maintains a low profile these days, hasn't ever said anything publicly about the situation, though everything Fenn says certainly makes sense when you consider how abruptly the building romance between MacLachlan and Fenn's character was nixed. Number 5. Russell Crowe and Oliver Reed. The production of Ridley Scott's Best Picture-winning Gladiator was thrown into a tailspin when Oliver Reed, who played the major supporting role of Antonius Proximo, died from a heart attack before all of his scenes had been shot. This resulted in Reed's scenes being completed with the help of a digital double. Though co-star Russell Crowe kept respectfully quiet for many years after Gladiator's release, he did eventually open up about his acrimonious working relationship with Reed throughout shooting. He said, "I never got on with Ollie. He has visited me in dreams and asked me to talk kindly of him. So I should, but we never had a pleasant conversation. I have seen him walk down the street in Malta drunk as a lord and just hit anybody he got near to, even a man walking with his children. I just found that to be not impressive." Given that Crowe said they never had a pleasant conversation, it's safe to say that the dislike was mutual. Number 4. Julia Roberts and Catherine Zeta-Jones. Ocean's 12 expanded the heist series' huge ensemble cast by throwing Catherine Zeta-Jones into the mix as Europol detective Isabel. Though ever since the film's production, persistent reports have suggested that Zeta-Jones and co-star Julia Roberts came to blows throughout shooting. While filming in Italy, the pair allegedly quibbled over various aspects of the shoot, from their costumes to the set's lighting, VIP perks, and even eventually their presence in the movie's marketing, such that they were largely kept separate during production. Though neither actress has spoken publicly about the rumoured spat, the fact that they haven't worked together since, despite co-starring in America's Sweethearts just 3 years prior to Ocean's 12, is certainly curious and possibly quite telling. Number 3. Freddie Prinze Jr. and Kiefer Sutherland. Freddie Prinze Jr. appeared in 24's 8th season as Jack Bauer's reluctant ally Cole Ortiz. Though several years after his single-season stint on the show ended, Prinze spoke out about his miserable experience working with Sutherland. He said, "It was terrible, I hated every moment of it. Kiefer was the most unprofessional dude in the world. That's not me talking trash, I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that." Prinze, who worked with WWE in various creative capacities both before and after filming 24, even compared former WWE CEO Vince McMahon favourably to Sutherland, saying, "I didn't have to take my shoes off to do scenes with Vince, which they made me do. Just put the guy on an apple box or don't hire me next time. You know I'm 6 feet and he's 5'4". I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I just sort of stopped." As much as Prinze paints a convincing picture of the pair not getting on, Sutherland had his reps take the high road, simply wishing Prinze the best. Number 2. Jennifer Aniston and Jay Moore. 1997 rom-com Picture Perfect stars Jennifer Aniston as an advertising executive who pretends to be engaged to a man she just met in order to further her career. Despite Aniston and Moore's decent enough chemistry, they reportedly struggled to get on during filming, largely due to Aniston's disappointment that her then-boyfriend, Tate Donovan, wasn't cast opposite her. For Moore, who was simply the wrong man in the wrong place at the wrong time, Aniston's sour attitude resulted in a miserable experience making the movie. He said, "Being on the set of a movie where the leading woman was unhappy with my presence, I made it clear from day one. I hadn't done many movies, and even though they screen tested some pretty famous guys, I somehow snaked into the leading role." Aniston said, "No way, you've got to be kidding me," loudly between takes. To other actors on set, "I would literally go to my mum's house and cry." While one suspects things have cooled between the two over the last 25 years, that's certainly not the ideal atmosphere for shooting a romantic comedy. Number 1. Charlie Chaplin and Marlon Brando. You'd be forgiven for not knowing that Hollywood legends Charlie Chaplin and Marlon Brando ever worked together, but indeed they collaborated on the 1967 rom-com A Countess from Hong Kong, with Brando starring while Chaplin served as writer and director. The two megastars didn't play well together by their own accounts. Chaplin originally wanted Cary Grant or Rex Harrison to play the lead and grew frustrated with Brando regularly turning up late to set. Conversely, Brando found Chaplin's hands-on direction insulting and wrote in his 1994 memoir that he perceived the director as a cruel man. He said, "Comic genius or not, when I went to London to work with him late in his life, Chaplin was a fearsomely cruel man. He was probably the most sadistic man I'd ever met. He was an egotistical tyrant and a penny pincher. He harassed people when they were late and scolded them unmercifully to work faster. The greatest genius that the medium has ever produced was a mixed bag, just like all of us."